on, guys? Welcome to the first among many Monday installments of the GoingBrdwyPod podcast. This is our new night. Alex and Cole with you as always. Cole, what's going on?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We have a great show in store for you tonight because it's Monday night, and the Monday Night Wars have officially begun.
We just made Monday night even more raw, if you will. Let's see who we got in the chat, though. Stacy, good evening. Jeremy, yes, Monday show from now on. We have the White Bunny. I think we all know who that is.
The name change.
Yeah, on a weekly basis. Which platform is best if I want to see the most of what other comment? Sorry, you'll have to clarify. I'm not sure what you mean.
Like what other people are commenting. Like he wants to see everybody's comments.
Don't know.
I'm thinking
varies on a weekly basis, practically.
YouTube or Twitch might show all of them.
I'm not sure. Richard Doug Jenkins, good evening, my friend. Meant to be throwing these comments up on the screen as we go because we can do that now.
We can. That's right.
Awesome. You know, and I will say this as a Cubs fan, I'm actually rooting for Albert this year to get one more ring. Is that sacrilegious?
No. You honor the greats no matter what team they're on.
Good evening, Andrew. Indeed, they have. Eugene, good evening. Eric Walton, what's going on? Our friend Chris. It has been a while. Welcome back, my friend. So tonight, I have no idea if this is going to be a normal show as far as length goes. Shorter, longer, who knows? But it wouldn't be a show without this. Okay. Where do we want to start? Because we just had a show 4 days ago. I mean, what do we want to talk about? I mean, by the way, guys, I know that Raw is on right now, so you guys as our viewers kind of keep us in the loop on anything exciting happening, but my guess is you'll probably be safe for at least the first 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you the first like 30 minutes at least is going to be, somebody talking and a match that happens right out of that promo. So,
Jeremy, I don't like him that much. We'll get to this question if are we doing fan mail tonight? Depends on time.
Yeah, I think
we'll see.
We are, but
did he now? Was that 7:03 now?
7:03. So let's before the show, actually the thing about Lesnar, I don't think he shows tonight. One, he lives in Canada, so I don't think Minnesota would really have anything.
I mean, he just went to college in Minnesota. He doesn't live there.
Yeah, he lives in Canada. But anyways, I actually think this is something we actually could talk about because I didn't know this, but he I guess is rumored for Extreme Rules, but is advertised for like the next 4 pay-per-views. I don't know if you saw this or not.
I read the exact opposite, that it was rumored that he wasn't going to be on a U.S. show until next year.
He could possibly be advertised. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
While you're looking for that, the rumor I read, now I think this came from the Observer or Meltzer or somebody, Brian Alvarez, I don't remember who, but the rumor I saw was that he would likely not be wrestling in the U.S. in 2022. Well, yeah, and I think Brian must have. I didn't see specifically Crown Jewel. I just, it was kind of obvious though that the rumor was he wouldn't be wrestling in the U.S. in 2022. So,
I am pulling up, but I saw something that was reported that he was rumored for Extreme Rules, but that he was actually advertised for other things. So if they are going to bring him back, I'm curious into what capacity they do that in. Advertise for.
I mean, what would make sense though? Like let's say he wrestles at Crown Jewel and that's it. As a one-off match, I mean, can you think of something that would not make someone look bad? Because Lesnar's not going to take the loss.
I thought potentially if they wanted to do something to hold like certain people over, like you could have him come out and on Raw, let's say, and say he wants Roman, because obviously that's what he's gonna. That people are gonna assume that's what he's gonna want, and then like the
Right.
Judgment Day starts messing with him, and maybe over the next couple pay-per-views, he fights Damian Priest, he fights Finn Balor, he fights. I doubt he fights Dominic Mysterio, but
That would be funny.
So
those are interesting names, though. I mean, I don't think it'll be Balor because something else I read about him is that WWE has big plans for him.
big plans.
So I doubt that they would feed him to Lesnar, but Damian Priest, possibly. I mean, if it's just a one-off match, it could go 7, 8, 10 minutes and give Lesnar the win. Lesnar's been a lot better, in my opinion, over the last few years since he's kind of become a part-timer about making his opponents actually look decent and not bury them, for lack of a better word.
Right.
I don't want to see him in Theory again. And I mean, it's already been done. I mean, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the first match itself, I think just because we've seen it already, they don't need to recycle that.
Oh, absolutely agree. And I wouldn't be shocked actually if Theory is not even in the Money in the Bank type situation much longer. Like I could see them actually taking that briefcase off of him. And so I was
Really?
hoping, yeah, I think that they might put it on Johnny Gargano.
Hmm.
I think that's a better fit, but I'm hoping to find this here. But so far, I'm not having any luck. So if I do find it, I will mention it. But we can move forward.
Okay. By the way, and I've neglected to say this since our first few shows back since we stepped out on our own. If at any point you're a first time viewer or first time in a while viewer, just let us know. We like to give those people a proper shout out just because. But let's see what else did we talk about before we went live. I mean, I'm just drawing a blank right now. Oh, the AW stuff.
Oh yeah, you said that you thought there was some potential signings and what could be potential departures. So
yeah. So let's cover the potential signings or the rumored signings first. Now, I will say, so take this with a grain of salt, guys. I did not watch Dynamite at all last week, so I don't know how the matches went. But Tony Khan is wanting to possibly ink Bandito to a contract if he hasn't already. Roosh is officially with AEW now. I don't know if you saw that.
yeah, I thought that had already happened though. That's why I
Well,
found
I
that
kind
to
of thought
be
it did too, but I mean, he got his all elite meme or whatever.
his final nail in the coffin, if you will.
And then Juice Robinson, after his match with Moxley this past week, they want Juice Robinson to possibly be full time. I'll make my thoughts short and sweet about these two. Bandito, I think, would be a good signing for them, but I think he would be better suited just staying with what he's doing, just doing independence. I don't feel like AEW would use him correctly in the capacity that he wants. I don't even think WWE or NXT would either. First off, they wouldn't let him keep the Bandito name. I wouldn't think. Maybe they would have Triple H in charge. I don't know. But I'm just not confident in Bandito being on mainstream American television and being used in the capacity that he's used to being, if that makes sense. Because he's used to being in the main event primarily. I mean, and for rightfully so. I mean, he's good in the ring. Thing about Juice Robinson, and I posted this on our Twitter. It's guys. I mean, and I might have said it on the podcast last Thursday. At this point, Bullet Club is NWO 2000, and somebody posted a clip of a press conference that they did prior to the G1 that they just completed not too long ago. They're trying to push Juice Robinson, and it's just not working. I mean, he reminds me of a ripoff of Brian Pillman in the mid 90s, and it's not even close.
Right.
I don't know what else to say. It's just it doesn't work for me. So your thoughts?
As far as the signings go, I mean, yeah, I definitely think they're happening. I mean, that does not shock me.
Jeremy, I'd love to know where you heard or saw that.
What a waste.
Sorry, go ahead.
What a waste of a match that will end in nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
So like those signings, like they make sense from the standpoint of, yeah, you're using them. I mean, Bandito, ROH guy, totally makes sense for you to sign him. Who is the other one? Juice
Robinson.
But I guess I'm, like I said last week, I'm kind of over the signings and the pops and the hoping that they're a draw and all this stuff. Like none of these guys, in the most respectful way possible, none of these guys move the needle. They don't do anything majorly for your product compared to guys that you already have that you're not using.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, even best case scenario, let's say they got a bunch of needle movers. Well, you've got to have a lower and upper card or lower and a mid card somewhere. If you've got all these needle movers, then there's going to be complaints about, well, you're not using this guy correctly, or this guy should be pushed better, or whatever the case may be. I mean, case in point, Brian Cage. I mean, he was just mentioned, but they wouldn't give him the win over Wardlow. There's no way.
Not in a short-term program. And that's the issue. Again, like a name like Bandito, I'm just gonna be real. Looking at the current AEW roster, outside of if they decided to make their own ROH roster, and maybe that's what they're building towards, he automatically screams catering to me. Like, not in the disrespectful way, not that he's not talented, but he automatically screams to me, we signed you. Now sit here and do nothing. We'll put you on Rampage every once in a while. We'll put you on Elevation and Dark. You'll boost your stats and stuff there, but you won't be in any major storylines and whatnot. You'll end up being in the next 4 factions that get made over the next month.
Right.
And it kind of gets lost in the sauce. Juice Robinson, I think, because of his international, I don't want to say popularity, but and I have a hard time saying fame. He's known enough to where I think he'll end up on TV a little bit more often, and they'll find a place for him. But again, just none of them are exciting. It doesn't scream excitement to me. I will give you a name here. Still didn't find the Brock thing that I saw. I need to start screenshotting these things when I see them, because it seems they disappear as quick as they're posted. But 2 things I just saw. These are great for off the top because I didn't know either of these. According to,
hold on, are you changing topics?
This is kind of in the same topic because I could see this person going to AEW.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
According to, who is this? I guess it doesn't give the source. It was posted by Dirt Sheet Radio though. Contract ends October 9th. She will become a free agent immediately after. Mia Yim will not be re-signing with Impact, but will become a free agent. Her contract ends October 9th, which is next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that means because it's ending, there's a no non-compete clause or nothing like that.
Oh, so, yeah. She can go wherever.
The addition of Paige, her husband's in AEW. Clearly, from what we've heard and read, there's not good terms with WWE as a whole, I'm sure they're all on great terms with Triple H from what you read all the time, but there's a great chance that Mia Yim could sign with AEW.
I think I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion, but I would actually be more shocked if she didn't than if she did. I mean, or I'll rephrase. I'd be more shocked if she didn't than if she does anything else, whether it's stay with Impact or, just not do anything for a while. I know she's got a Twitch channel. If she decides to just do independent stuff for a while, who knows? I mean, I know that New Japan has a women's division now. I mean, she can do pretty much anything she wants. I mean, even if she wanted a spot back in WWE, she could probably have it. But I agree. I'd be shocked. I'll rephrase one more time. The only other thing that would shock me more is if she does go back to WWE. Not that she couldn't go back there if she wanted to, but again, given how her and Keith Lee were treated the first time around, regardless of who was in charge, I mean, Keith Lee was dying and they treated them like crap, according to them. Again, this
right.
There's always two sides of the story, so I'm not trying to make it sound like I know everything about the situation, but if what they're saying is true, the only thing that would shock me more than her not signing with AEW is if she signed with WWE.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately she's gonna be the what's the bargaining chip, if you will, in the future, I think, for where Keith Lee stays or ends up, because I feel like people are going to try their best to cater to her, because if she's happy, I think it's clear that Keith Lee's happy. One of the reasons he is cited is that he didn't like how they treated his wife in WWE. And, so again, like, she's kind of a sleeper signing. Like, she could be really helpful to either really anybody's women's division. So
I was going to say, Andrew asked this. You could do a lot with her in WWE.
As of right now, I could already think of a couple things. Number one, you could bring her right back into NXT and rebuild her as Mia Yim. That way there's not the reckoning junk that she left on.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't even go back to that
to deal with that.
Like,
but she'd go right back into NXT, and you could have her be the one that dethrones Mandy Rose. And since Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction up in roster, and now you got Mia Yim down there who's solid, she can continue to help build up this next generation of women and kind of do some exciting matches. Or you could bring her right back to the main roster. Royal Rumble's coming up in January, so you could sign her, get her ready, have her be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. By the way,
isn't she from? I mean, I know it's in San Antonio. Isn't she from Texas?
That wouldn't shock me. I don't know off the top of my head
where she's from. Google machine,
but
it could be way off too. Nope, she's from California. Never mind. Don't know why I thought that. Was she born in Texas or something? I could have sworn there was some association with her in Texas, but nope. Made it up. Sorry, guys.
So, anyways, I think she could be a good fit in a lot of ways. The other thing, this is switching topics. So, did you have anything to add before I?
So the other thing. Rumor? Yeah, the other on the flip side, as far as possible departures, the one I mentioned before we went live was Andrade. He's really teased it on social media. I mean, he's got this mask versus career match this week against 10/Preston Vance, whatever you want to call him. Now, granted, we've seen him without his mask already, so it's not like it's a real mask stipulation, I guess. But I don't know. They had that Jose guy who manages him, post something on Twitter that was almost like not kayfabe, but maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. But nonetheless, Andrade leaving, yes or no? What do you think?
I'm actually not gonna be shocked if there's like a top 10 names that we could bring up that'll be out the door if they're not already on their way out the door. Andrade being one of them. I mean, again, I said this last week. I don't really think that WWE was reaching out to talents just point blank and saying, "Do you want to come back?" But the reality is that a lot of them had close knit relationships with Triple H, with Shawn Michaels, with guys that actually have pull now.
Yeah.
And if they're able to get out of their contracts are coming up. There's anything they can do to where they know they would be happier being back in WWE. They know they would be happier being under Triple H and Shawn Michaels and things that are going on in with WWE right now. I mean, Andrade, his wife, still in WWE, probably never going to leave WWE. So, would you want to be on the road with your wife, especially now under Triple H, who made you a champion in the past, actually utilized you in the past, who could have big plans for you if you came back in, going into the future?
Yeah, and granted, they've ran this type of storyline before, but he would work perfect in the role of having, someone that is foreign or of international descent win the United States title, just because there's that obvious, whatever word I'm trying to think of.
He's a good Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah,
He'd be a phenomenal person to put the Money in the Bank on and run that around. Zelina's still signed with the company. So if you're concerned about his mic skills, you have Zelina, who I thought at one point in time when she was running that little mini faction, if you will, with her and Angel Garza and Andrade, I thought they were very entertaining. I thought that they were one of the best things on Monday Night Raw.
And that's mentioned outside of title pictures. I mean, there's a slew of matches that would, guys that he's never wrestled before. I mean, you mentioned, you said the word phenomenal, him and AJ Styles. I mean, that would be a classic.
For some reason, I think him and LA Knight would be fun to watch. I don't know why I feel like that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it'd be a good match. But
we need to get that sound bite just to use it.
I'll find it.
Have it on hand.
So I want to transition here
to
one other thought, because I've not read this and maybe it gets announced tonight. So hopefully I'm not spoiling anything. But this was posted by someone a day ago, and it's cited as if it came from Ariel Hawani. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why this is the only reason why I'm giving it credit, any kind of credit here. But it's saying there's a special referee for the Fight Pit match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, there is.
It's Daniel Cormier. How did it know this?
I don't think
it wasn't announced on TV, right?
No, but I mean, if it's coming from him, it's very, 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 very likely true. I mean, he's the guy that's had the recent interviews with Triple H. He had an interview with Seth Rollins. I mean, so yeah. It's very likely going to happen.
That's kind of crazy to me. I think those little kind of mini additions to a card can make a big impact on ticket sales and stuff. That gets UFC people to watch, because is Daniel Cormier going to get involved? Is he going to do anything? There's always been rumors about him joining WWE when his UFC career was up as well. He was one of the names that has always kind of been brought up.
And I think this will be his doorway in.
For sure.
So
I wanted to bring it up because I hadn't seen anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it might have been on Saturday.
Wow.
Definitely yesterday. So
it's flying under the radar, because like I said, I usually hear about a decent amount of stuff through these Facebook feeds and stuff, and
yeah,
not a single thing.
Guys, we're going to transition, and we are going to recap Warrior Wrestling's event from last night that we were the proud and honored sponsors of. We're not going to recap this in a lot of detail, because I can probably speak for Cole when I say we actually did not get to watch this, unfortunately. On paper, it looked
just the highlights. Just saw some
on
clips.
Paper, it looked like a great card. But as I'm going through this, Cole, if you want to jump in at any point, just feel free to stop me. So again, this was last night.
Did this card change at all? I feel like some of the matches.
It's changed on a few occasions. So remember, it initially was the Briscoes against the Lucha Bros, and then
I knew that.
AW stepped in and
Calvin Tankman, he wasn't fighting Jay Lethal initially, right?
no. So the situation was Calvin Tankman was supposed to go against Eddie Kingston, and they were going to bring in Eddie Kingston to make up for the fact that the Briscoes and the Lucha Bros match was off.
Right.
That was AEW's way of making it up to them. But then, unfortunately, with because of Hurricane Ian, Eddie Kingston's home as well as his mother's home, I don't know what kind of damage they had to them, but that was the reasoning I read, that they said Eddie Kingston couldn't make it, so they replaced him with Jay Lethal.
That to me is my personal opinion.
It's a better match. You still there?
Oh, sorry, I was frozen for a second.
Yeah,
I think I'm back.
Yeah, you're good. You need to repeat what you just said, though.
I said I think the Calvin Tankman Jay Lethal is a better match.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I mean, it's not even a question. So
I just started looking at the card some and looking at some of the recaps. It's like, wait a minute, I don't remember this one being highlighted and whatnot. So yeah, let's go through it real quick. Like I said, I have a couple thoughts here and there, but
yeah, just stop me whenever you want me to. So Storm Grayson, and I assume this match is in order of how it appeared on the card. In the opening match, Storm Grayson defeated Davey Bang. Storm Grayson is associated with Frank the Clown, for those of you that know who Frank the Clown is. He is actually Mick Foley's son-in-law, I believe, or at least Mick Foley's daughter's significant other.
Gotcha.
For what it's worth. Jordan Cross defeated Sam Beal. Luigi Primo of AEW fame defeated Matt Nix.
I wanted to talk on that one just for a second.
Go for it.
Because this Luigi Primo is starting to kind of blow up very quickly.
So silly.
Very quickly. I mean, first off, if AEW brings you in, even if it's for a guest appearance, they saw something that entertained them.
Especially if it's actually on Dynamite.
I mean, in a Chris Jericho segment. We're not talking about just something in the back to have him for 30 seconds. I mean, he was out for a 5-minute segment,
during the segment. Yeah, 100%.
Got to throw some pizzas, got to be on the mic. I would not be shocked if this guy gets signed to AEW, actually. I could see them using him on Dark. I could see them using him on Elevation and seeing kind of where it goes. But it can't be any more ridiculous than some of the stuff they've done with Orange Cassidy.
Oh, so, yeah. 100%.
Could happen, but I thought it was interesting he was on this card.
Queen Amanada defeated Sky Blue, which that result surprises me because Sky Blue is in some capacity with AEW, and I'm surprised they would let Sky Blue take the loss like that if she's with the company.
Right.
So Briscoe brothers defeated the Rascals of Myron Reed and Zachary Wentz. Calvin Tankman versus Jay Lethal went to a time limit draw. I actually want to go back and watch that match because if they go to a draw, it had to have been decent. Go ahead.
I want to go back for a second.
Do it.
I'm meaning to ask this. Myron Reed was not one of the Rascals, right?
I thought was he not in Impact?
I thought the Rascals was Trey Miguel and the two that made up MSK. I could be wrong.
Okay. No, I think you're right. So it originally was 4 guys. It was Desmond Xavier, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and Myron Reed. It was the 4 of them.
Gotcha. Okay, so he was an original. They eventually do an offshoot of it with Trey Miguel and the 2 that make up MSK.
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to make sure because I was like, you have Trey Miguel on the card. why not do him and Zachary Wentz? Because to me, that's the version of the Rascals that I know.
Right, but that's because Trey Miguel got the Warrior
Obviously,
title shot. So
I get that. I just was kind of like, I would have saved the Rascals thing.
oh no, I see where you're coming from.
From that. So I wanted to back up real quick and just make sure I wasn't tripping.
Nope.
But
No, you're good.
you said you wanted to go back, watch the Calvin Tankman Jay Lethal, went to a time limit draw.
Yeah.
I highly agree with you. I think that sounds like a banger of a match that I would encourage anyone to go check out because that sounds crazy.
So here's where I disagree with how Warrior Wrestling booked the card, at least if this is the order that they had.
This is because card. I read it says the Lucha Bros match was the main event.
I would your main card title should always be in your main event. I don't care who else is on the card. In my opinion, your main card title match should be last on the card, but in this case, it wasn't. The Warrior Wrestling title match, Casey Navarro retained over Trey Miguel. And then in the main event, the Lucha Bros defeated Brian Cage and Gringo Loco.
The only reason why I would say you could get away with doing the title match second to last if they would have done the Lucha Bros versus the Briscoes.
Oh yeah. In that capacity, absolutely.
I think a first time matchup like that, you could easily make way for that to be the thing. I think I agree with you in this sense, even though there's more names, if you will, in the match that they made their main event, you make your main card title feel less than when it's not highlighted as the main thing, especially when it's held. And again, I don't like making jabs, but Casey Navarro is not really a major name to be like, oh yeah, and Trey Miguel to me does not scream main event match either between the two. So you know, in my opinion, book that better, to where it feels bigger.
Agreed. We're going to change topics moving right along. So this is our subject to change topic where we discuss championships that might be changing hands in the near future. We usually kind of, what do we decide within the next month or so? The next few weeks is kind of how we looked at this.
Yeah.
So why don't you go first and give us one or two?
This is actually really tough because in AEW, I feel like a lot of the titles have already changed hands a lot. And they typically don't do that very often. It's a very rare occasion, I should say, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the MJF thing is getting prolonged. That's just how it feels storyline to me, that it could be maybe 2 to 3 months before we see that. I think if there's any belt in AEW that I could say could switch hands at any moment, it'd be one of two. It'd either be the Atlantic, just because I kind of feel like they're not really doing anything with it. Or the TNT.
You think?
Yeah, because someone brought up a good point the other day. And most of your big cards, your main event cards, the highlighted cards, if you will, Wardlow's not even defended the title. He's been in 6-man tag matches. They're not using him as a champion. I don't know. It's trying to protect him. And so they don't want to just have meaningless matches. And, because who is he going to fight that is even a believable contender? You're limited on that. And then you don't want to waste those matches on a regular Dynamite. You want to save them, make them feel bigger. I would say that, but they've not given me any reason to believe that that's going to happen. So
I agree. I wanted to put that comment up because 95% of wrestling fans want to see it, not because of her lack of, how can I put this? She's still not good in the ring. Like she's not improved. And I don't know. We touched on this last week with Omos and Undertaker saying that, he was the next Andre. In this case with Bryan Danielson, training her and saying that, she's going to be good. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not. I'm. They've not sold me though either that they're gonna take the belts off her. Like I said, the ROH titles they've had defended throughout the time here recently. They've already changed those over. You know, the AEW title's been up in the air. The 6-man title they introduced up in the air. The women's title they just changed over. So I don't see a lot there. WWE.
well, let's say with AEW just real quick, and here's why. Battle of the Belts is coming up.
Okay.
This weekend, is it not? I mean, let's see. For
I've not paid attention, to be completely honest.
I think it's this Friday or Saturday. But last I saw, and I'm pulling it up now. Last I saw, they only had one match booked. Okay. Battle of the Belts, October 7th. So it is on, it's a Friday. Okay. Originally was going to be aired on tape delay on October 8th, but moved to the previous day to avoid conflict with the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Okay. But yeah, as of right now, there's only one confirmed match booked. It's Pac defending the All-Atlantic Championship against Trent.
Why?
I don't know.
So that's a no. I don't see that belt changing hands at Battle.
It was a missed opportunity. They should have let Orange Cassidy win it.
That's a waste of time. So, like I said, WWE, I'm not going to say any of them because we're going to do an Extreme Rules prediction if I was to even think there'd be one. NXT, I feel like Braun Breaker's due for a call up, but I feel like they're going to wait closer to WrestleMania season for that, which is why I feel like they're kind of doing some of these filler feuds between him and like JD McDonough,
whatever his name is,
and Tyler, or they use Tyler Bate and Dragunov and all that. So I kind of feel like that's still a little far out to be predicting. Same with Mandy Rose. I could see her and Toxic Attraction getting a call up around Royal Rumble, WrestleMania season, maybe the night after WrestleMania, those kind of things. So I think those are coming. But as far as in the near future, this is kind of that time of the year, I feel like, for both companies, where the major companies, I should say, where they start to play it safe because they have their big pay-per-views coming up. Do I think any belts change hand before Full Gear? Probably not in AEW.
You don't think there will be at least one on Battle of the Belts?
Who asked it here? I think it's right here. This is exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if there is. It's one, maybe.
Let's just take a look.
I don't know if I can and if there are more than one, they're not memorable. They're not like.
Well, there's only been 3 so far. So, let's see. Technically, I mean, it was for the interim TNT championship. Sammy Guevara defeated Dustin Rhodes, but I mean, neither were champion at the time, so I'm not going to count that.
Okay.
Battle of the Belts 2. Okay, Sammy Guevara defeated Scorpio Sky. Which, by the way, where's Scorpio Sky been since then?
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, everything.
I mean, anyway.
Had a great tag team in the middle of the year, and you do nothing with it. It's
so yeah. I mean, that's an excellent point. Besides that, all other matches were retains. So,
Brian, that's it. Let me pull this one up. That's a good point. Bound for Glory is a big one for them, so I could see them doing some title changes and whatnot.
We weren't going to do our predictions for that just because I didn't. I mean, I don't follow Impact enough to. It's not that I don't care. I just don't follow it enough to really be able to give a valid enough opinion on it. But as far as the title matches, if we wanted to just look at those, Brian Myers has an open challenge for the Digital Media Championship. You've got Jordan Grace against Masha Slamovich for the Knockouts Championship. You've got Honor No More defending against the Motor City Machine Guns, the tag titles, that is. Mike Bailey defending the X Division Championship against Frankie Kazarian.
That'll be a good one.
Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo defending the Knockouts Tag Championships against Jessica and Taya Valkyrie. And then you've got the Impact World Championship, Josh Alexander defending against Eddie Edwards.
See, I don't hear one that just stands out to me. From the amount of knowledge that I have of Impact, I stay up to date with it enough, but I still don't know.
I would say the most likely just to get the championship on a more marquee-ish name would be Frankie Kazarian winning the X Division championship, but I mean that's not even a.
See, I thought maybe Motor City Machine Guns winning the Impact titles because they've been on W. You have this cross thing going on with FTR and the Acclaim. So maybe at some point they'll want to do a crossover match to that.
Well, didn't they just win the tag team championship since Good Brothers left? I mean that's just been in the last few weeks.
No More.
I'm saying that they Honor No More just won the tag team championship because Good Brothers were on their way out the door.
That could have been a last minute booking. They want Motor City Machine Guns to get the big win at a pay-per-view. So there could be that quick booking, or if all those guys kind of have a backdoor deal with ROH of like, hey, when it is back up and running, we all wanted to come back. Maybe that's how they all get back on to ROH and whatnot, by getting their title wins and whatnot. So I don't know, but nothing that really stands out majorly to me. I don't know if there's any that you can think of that I'm not, but
I mean, if you go back and look at Ring of Honor, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised just by default if at some point Samoa Joe loses that TV belt. Wouldn't be a fan of it, but I mean, it's not like he's done anything else with it. I mean, they've featured the Pure Championship more than they have anything else.
Now, is that his fault that he hasn't done anything with it? I feel like he's a wasted talent right now because you signed him right away. I mean, you didn't let him sit on the market at all. I mean, he was on television ASAP.
Yeah,
you put the belt on him pretty much right away. And it seems like they're trying to keep this feud alive with him and Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt and Dollar Tree Khali. But there's no ROH pay-per-view coming up that I'm aware of.
No, I mean there's nothing that's been announced. I mean, let me just look at the last one has been approaching 3 months ago, August, September, 2.5 months ago. So they had one April 1st, and then they had another one about 2.5 months after that, July 23rd. They've had their, let's see. They've had their cards at just seemingly unusual times. My guess is I'd like to think they'd have one more pay-per-view before the end of the year, but I mean, they're probably going to do their December Final Battle pay-per-view, but that doesn't give them a whole lot of time if they're going to do one to promote it.
Well, the last one I felt like they threw the card together pretty last minute, if you will. I mean, I think I just saw they finally put the ROH 6-man titles on AEW Rampage the other night.
Oh, did they?
Or it's coming up. I thought I saw a graphic where Dalton Castle and then we're going to be defending it against somebody else. Maybe that's the Rampage coming up this week.
It might be. And it's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking about that. It's like we haven't seen them since the Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
I'm trying to think of who all their champions are in ROH. I mean, I know Chris Jericho just won the main belt. You have Daniel Garcia as the pure champ. You have Samoa Joe as the TV champ. FTR as the tag champs. Is Mercedes Martinez still the women's champ?
She's still women's champion, yeah.
Where has she been?
Exactly. And
then I think the 6-man is Dalton Castle and I'm trying to remember who the other two are.
The Boys. I think that's legit their name.
Okay.
So real quick, I'll make mine short and sweet. This was one that I had. I think that Danielson will win the Ring of Honor World Championship. I mean, it's kind of a bold-ish prediction, but that's one that I could see happening. I don't know when they advertise this. I want to say it's going to be on next week's Dynamite. This should have been a Battle of the Belts match. I don't know if it's because of scheduling, if Jericho or Danielson or both of them weren't available, but I don't know.
I don't understand the booking then. Why put the belt on Jericho at all if you know he's not long term, if you know that he's going on tour, you don't really have time to build a story around it. It'll feel rushed, for sure. And you already have it on a guy that he's good. He has a name. Like, people are cheering for Claudio. So I don't understand the booking on that. If that's the case,
I don't know. I mean, my only thought process is, and I know this is something we've talked about, stuff I've shared with in the chat. And I know you were vocal about not necessarily agreeing with it, but if Ring of Honor does get something going as far as a weekly TV deal, it does look better having the belt on someone like Jericho or even, or even Danielson.
I thought Jericho was the wrong pick because it's literally copying and pasting what you did with AEW. Charlie Haas, he shared his thoughts on it during our interview, and he said if they're getting a TV deal, why not put it on the biggest name star that you have, which is Jericho's. It's not that it doesn't make sense to me. It's that it feels for a company that doesn't like and rips on other companies, specifically WWE, for being sour, stale, and everything else that you want to call it, to copy and paste the same storyline you did to start AU, to start OH. Jericho's got a faction that cheats so he can get the belt. Like it's kind of cliche to me, where I would have agreed putting it on Bryan Danielson. That makes a ton of sense. I get that. So I don't know, but yeah, I think, like I said, short term, I don't know if you see a whole lot of title changes.
And then the other one I had, well, where did it go? Well, I know it's coming up. There is an NWA World Title match coming up. It's a triple threat, I believe. It's Trevor Murdoch defending in a triple threat against Tyrus once again. Situation with that is he basically uses his NWA TV championship as a cash in, so to speak, so he can get the title. He can be put in the title match.
So he vacates it.
Yeah, vacates TV championship, and he's in the title match. And then Matt Cardona is also in the match. I think Matt Cardona wins it again, and he just dropped it in the first place because he was hurt.
Cardona makes sense. I actually wouldn't be shocked if it's Tyrus, though. I mean, I think
stranger things have happened.
Would be interested in that, so
we'll see. Anything else on this topic that you got?
I really don't. Like I said, I think it's very short and sweet for me on that.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Promotional consideration paid
it's on a loop.
What Alfred Hayes here?
Consideration paid for by the following.
I'm not sure what happened there. But there you go, guys. Some extra Lord Alfred Hayes for you for this evening. Guys, you can check out our social media platforms. They're scrolling one by one across the bottom of your screen right now. Please give us a like on Facebook if you haven't already. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Cole got our Instagram page up and running again, so you can check that out. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please give us a follow and subscribe if you're so inclined on our Twitch channel. We air live now every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on our Facebook page, on our Twitch channel, and on our YouTube channel as well. For the time being, it's just those three. We might eventually get back to Twitter at some point, but for now, it's just those three platforms. Like we've said before, we are completely crowdfunded. We're no longer backed by any sort of company or organization. So any and all financial contributions that you would be so inclined and kind to bestow upon us, we would sincerely appreciate it. One of the main ways you can support us is by going to our Pro Wrestling Tees shop, prowrestlingtees.com/GoingBrdwyPodcast. Lots of SKUs you can choose from. And sorry, my computer was locking up. Not sure what was going on. I'm just going to take this banner off here. There we go. Check out our Pro Wrestling Tees shop. We got lots of SKUs on there that you can choose from. Right now, it's only T-shirts. We don't have any hoodies or hats yet. I think we have to get to a certain plateau as far as sales in order to offer more than just T-shirts. That being said, something that we began promoting last week, and it is actually begun, is we are running a belt giveaway. So between... It's so loud on my end.
I don't know why. It's really quiet this time. I turned it down.
It is so loud. But if you purchase any of our shirts between October 1st, so that was Saturday, and December 31st, 2022, for every shirt that you purchase, you get one entry into this belt giveaway. So if you buy one shirt, you get one entry. If you buy 10 shirts, you get 10 entries. There's no limit on how many you can purchase during this 3-month period. However, for this week only, and I mean this week only, for any shirt that you purchase, we will double your entries. So if you buy one shirt, you actually get 2 entries. If you buy 5 shirts, you get 10 entries. So that being said, while there would be some incentive to wait until Pro Wrestling Tees offers their 20% discounts, however many times that might be until the end of the year, you now have incentive to get shirts or a shirt this week and get double your entries. Again, this is something we are only going to promote here on the podcast as well as on our Discord page. We will not promote this on any other social media platform, just because we want to make it exclusive as possible to those of you that follow us on a regular basis, that engage with us through our chats throughout the week, just to show our appreciation. And so help us out. Buy some shirts, win a belt at the beginning of next year. And if you don't win a belt, you still got some shirts out of it.
Yeah.
But speaking of belts, we still have our belt raffles on our Facebook page on a fairly frequent basis. Those will probably be a little fewer and far between during the next 3 months, during our T-shirt promotions and things like that. We'll still have them, but maybe we'd probably have one every week or two. We might just do one per month now. So we'll see. That being said, anything else, Cole, that you can think of?
I think you nailed it on the head, my friend.
Oh, our Twitch channel. So that's another way you can financially support us if you subscribe to our Twitch channel. That is the primary, and not just primary, that is the only platform to which we stream during our watch parties. So if you don't want those ads scrolling across your screen during one of our watch parties, subscribing is how you can get rid of those ads if you'd like to do so. I think it just about covered everything. And of course, if you feel like ever making a one-time donation, our payment information is included in the description of these videos, wherever platform you're streaming to. So any donations are welcomed and humbly and gratefully accepted. Oh, our Patreon page. That was for one thing I forgot.
Oh, wow.
We do have our Patreon page, patreon.com/GoingBrdwyPodcast. We do have 4 different tiers to choose from. Each has their own perks and benefits. If you are a gold or platinum tier patron, if you are one or would like to become one, you get to be on a podcast with me and Cole.
And
that's when that's when you play the
See, I
sound.
wasn't ready. Do it again. Go do over. Reboot.
If you are or would like to become a gold or platinum tier patron, you would get to join Cole and I on a podcast. Gold tier members get to join us once a year. Platinum tier members get to join us twice a year. However, it is up to the patron. It is their responsibility to contact us to schedule that ahead of time. Which if any of those are going to happen before the end of 2022, those have to be scheduled before the end of October. Otherwise, you lose it. So use it or lose it. It is also the responsibility of the patron to redeem any other perks or benefits, which it discloses in the description of these tiers. So,
and I just also want to mention real quick that if you are a Patreon member, we give we highlight those questions for guests when we have guests on. Mm-hmm. So if you want your question read during fan mail segment with our guests, it is wise of you to become a Patreon member, and we give priority to rank. So depending on where you rank as a Patreon, that's where we'll, as far as order and get to as many as we can in those time slots. So another reason to become a patron, I should say, is to if you want your questions read during those interviews.
You get priority. That's where we'll put you. To conclude the night, we're going to go through our Extreme Rules predictions. And oddly enough, this is a situation of less could indeed be more. There are only 6 matches as of right now advertised for the card. I'm going to actually hit refresh on this just to make sure that for whatever reason they haven't announced anything since we've been on. No, they have not. Okay. So we'll just go through these one by one.
We have to caveat this real quick though. I don't know I don't know if they'll add any other matches. So I agree with you that the idea of less is more is a big deal because that means they're going to give some time to these matches. Like I said, I could see a match or two, maybe a pre-show match being added. But does this not refreshing to feel like you actually have an Extreme Rules pay-per-view for once in probably the past 5, 6, 7 years, where it's not just one Extreme Rules match, but every match
they all actually are
some kind of stipulation, some kind of extreme. The people selected for these matches, they're going to be vicious. They're going to be grueling match. Like, it feels extreme. I'm excited to watch it. It's one of the very first times in a long time where I saw a card that I was like, from top to bottom, I'm like, that could actually be a really great match. That could be really, really good. So I wanted to caveat by saying, for once, we're getting an actual Extreme Rules pay-per-view where it's actually going to be extreme.
Indeed. So in no particular order, we'll just take a look at these one by one, starting with the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. The 6-man tag, the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. I still wish they'd call him Pete Dunne, but it is what it is, against Imperium.
This one's really hard because I don't know how you book this, because Fight Club, the Brawling Brutes, Fight Night, whatever you want to call them, they're over. People are enjoying them, but then you got Imperium, who they just introduced back up, together as a group, and you want them, you want them to succeed, and obviously people like them as well. And you have, when is it, Sheamus and Gunther, they're fighting for the title, I think, in a couple weeks. I think it's on the premiere episode of SmackDown, so to 2 weeks from now, I think. And they've already fought once. So there's like a part of me that thinks they're going to give the win to Sheamus there. And I'm
for the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I think I have to go Imperium gets the win here.
I am too. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think Imperium gets the win here, and looks like they have the momentum going into the Intercontinental title match, but then they'll put the belt on Sheamus.
I'm not betting on Sheamus yet, but I'm just saying.
No. I agree
they've
with
already
you.
fought. What's the point of doing it again? So yeah.
Whatever he wants. He can look as ridiculous as he wants because
isn't that a question every night with him?
Yeah, he can look as ridiculous as he wants because I mean, if I made the kind of money he's making, I wouldn't care what I looked like. I would
because he's Seth freaking Rollins. Okay.
I'll tell you what, since we're on the topic, let's talk about his match next. The Fight Pit match. Seth Rollins against Matt Riddle.
This could easily be match of the night. Very easily. I mean, there's some great matches on this card, but this could be a top contender for match of the night because if you guys have remembered the Fight Pits on NXT, they were really good.
Yeah.
And I believe Riddle was in both of those. That's kind of his specialty match, if you will. Because he fought Timothy
Thatcher. Yep.
Thatcher. And I'm trying to remember the other one. Was it Adam Cole?
Looking right now.
Tommaso Ciampa?
So Matt Riddle was not in all of them. So it was Ciampa and Thatcher in one of them. You had Riddle and Thatcher in another one.
I thought Riddle did two of them. Maybe not. Okay. Either way, Seth Rollins always puts on a great match. Riddle, his element, the Cormier addition to me is huge. Overall, I'm trying to think. So Seth Rollins got his first win at a pay-per-view at the last pay-per-view in like 9 months, right? And it looks like they kind of want to tease him for the United States title going forward. I think I got to go Seth Rollins here.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe in a cheap way. Maybe it's not a clean win.
Well, no. I'll tell you what. I'm going to backtrack. I'm actually going to say Riddle wins, but somehow they'll keep Rollins in the U.S. title picture, and Lashley will somehow cost him this match. I don't know how you do it because it's a Fight Pit match, but
right. I mean, he could just come out and distract him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I'm actually going to go Riddle here.
That's a good point. I for the sake of being different, I'll stick with Rollins.
Okay. The I Quit match, Edge against Finn Balor. This also has potential to be match of the night.
Here's the thing. When you think about some of the matches Edge has had marquee-wise since he's been back, some of them started slow, but they were grueling. I mean, if you remember some of the Randy Orton matches that he's had, even the Roman Reigns matches, the three-way with him and Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan at the time, and
Daniel Bryanson,
Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. So I think this is going to be a crazy match because it's got no DQs. I think I'm going to go with Finn Balor.
Ooh.
I think
I was on the fence on this one.
Edge would be like the favorite, obviously, because like no one wants to see the hero go down, right? Like there's all those aspects to it.
Yeah.
But they're really pushing Judgment Day hard. It looks like they're going to be doing an AJ Styles, Finn Balor type thing after this.
Yeah.
It's kind of over, wrapped up, tied up. I think I got to go Finn. And if they have big plans for him, a big win over Edge.
Yeah, that was where I was leaning towards in my head, was just the rumor of they have a lot of, the big plans and whatnot for Balor for the future. And I think that's for that reason I'm going to go Finn Balor as well. Liv Morgan defending.
Hold on.
Holding.
Is this true?
Is it really? Huh.
Because this will change my prediction if that's the case.
It would mine too.
I need to research real quick.
Well, either way, I mean, because we're both in the same boat. If it's this Friday, Well, I guess it kind
Friday.
of depends on the result.
SmackDown. What is this? This Friday is October
7th.
2022. I want to see. They've been announcing match cards here recently. Are they not posting that online? Match card, because they've announced a couple matches for it. It is this. Yeah, it's this Friday.
Interesting.
Wow, they got some actually really good matchups. Solo Sikoa versus Ricochet. Anyway, so that's gonna change my answer actually on the Donnybrook match. I'm gonna go with the Brawling Brutes because I think they'll have Gunter retain then this Friday.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that too. I would flip my answer if Sheamus ends up winning the Intercontinental title, and
I think whoever comes out the winner Friday, the opposite wins Saturday. Yeah. But I think it'd be weird to have him drop the belt.
Yeah, I do too.
The night before, so I'm gonna change my answer. Sorry.
If there was gonna be a title change, you'd almost have to have like this 6-man match be on SmackDown, and then have the title match with a special stipulation be on the pay-per-view.
Agreed.
So, okay. Liv Morgan defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey. I think
Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I think Ronda wins here though.
Okay, so this is where I struggle because they've allowed Liv to win twice on her, whether it be, one was the cash in, obviously, so it was a quick roll up type thing, and then I can't remember how she won the second time over her. But either way, that's tough. I'm gonna say Liv wins.
Really?
Extreme Rules. Something could happen. Okay. Shane, there was a tease. Ronda's been going at Shayna saying, "Get your stuff together." Make it happen. Maybe Shayna comes out during the match. Looks like she's for Ronda. Turns on Ronda. We get a program with Shayna and Ronda. Maybe even they're the ones that lead teams for Survivor Series. So you have two UFC, winning teams for Survivor Series, and they build their teams that way. I'm just throwing some ideas out, but I'm gonna say, even though I think Liv's been weak, I'm gonna say Liv retains here.
Okay. All right.
Oxen Brand Music. They actually go live here in about 20 minutes. So if you're Twitch people, you want some music in the background, they got a great interview tonight as well. You can go check them out. I'm trying to learn how to raid off of Twitch, so I can shoot all of our Twitch followers, our Twitch watchers in to their show after ours is over. I'm still learning the Twitch world, but
indeed,
you guys can go check them out after this. It'll be a good time. I'll probably be up in the chat for a little bit. So
there you go.
He tried to explain it to me on the phone the other day. I just haven't looked at it. So either way.
All right. So let's see. We got 2 matches left. We got Bianca defending against Bayley, the Raw Women's Championship. Here's what I want to happen. I'd want Bayley to win. Is it going to happen? Okay. I'm struggling to think that they'll pull the trigger here. I think so. By the way, guys, whenever we predict title matches, we're predicting who walks out as champion, regardless of outcome of the match. So, Richard, thanks for joining us. Come back next Monday. Yeah, I agree, but I don't know. I think Bianca still walks out as champion. I want Bayley to win, but I doubt it's going to happen.
Okay, so this is actually my bold prediction on this pay-per-view. I say Bayley wins.
I hope you're right.
I think Damage Control is the women's tag champions. You do have to get ready for Survivor and Survivor Series. Sorry,
you're ready for Survivor.
My wife and I are fans of Survivor. We've been watching her recently, so I get the names confused very quickly. But You got to get ready for Survivor Series. A great way to do that is to put all the belts on Damage Control and give them an extra person, a 4-on-4 match, especially if they're doing 2 War Game matches at Survivor Series. Bailey with, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, those two have been in those matches before. So you already have experience there. You add a fourth, whatever heel you want to throw with it. Again, you could throw Ronda Rousey into this. You could throw Shayna Baszler into this, however you want to do that. And then you can still keep Bianca Belair and this random tandem team that you've been doing together for the War Games match with Asuka and Alexa Bliss and Bianca, and add whatever fourth you want into the mix there. Raquel Gonzalez is a name that kind of stands out to me there.
It's not happening.
Candice LeRae stands out to me there. But you got to get ready for War Games. I think the best way to do this is to put all the belts on one team, and then they're not up for defending, but that just makes more sense to me. So bold prediction.
I'd be down for it, but
I think Bailey gets the win here. Not that Bianca's even stale, but she's been champion for a good minute, and Bailey's been back, and I think you got to put the belts on Bailey here. Otherwise, what else? She's the leader of her group, and her group has belts, but she doesn't.
Yeah. And then we've got Drew McIntyre against Karrion Kross in a strap match. I wasn't going in any particular order. So this might not even be the main event. I mean,
the only reason why, because I thought I had read rumors they were going to make this a number 1 contenders match, but it's never been announced. So that's why I thought it was going to be the main event, but I could almost see
so much hate.
I could almost see the I Quit match being one, or the Fight Pit. The Fight Pit mainly because why not wait to drop the cage until the end of the night?
What they should do, and I get that they're on different. Well, is the brand split even a thing anymore? I mean, really,
to an extent. And I read a rumor they plan on redrafting. So,
well, here's what I would propose. The winner of those 3 matches, the Fight Pit match, the strap match, and the I Quit match, have a triple threat match, and that would be your number 1 contender.
Now, that could make sense right now because you only have one champion. And I'm curious at what kind of plan they're trying to put together for a way to get one of the belts off Roman, or they had to have him, lose it and then, divide them up during the brand. I don't know what you do. Have them vacated. I don't know. But right now you could do that just because there's only one champion.
You could do that.
This is where my question is, do you think this is an unspoken, like, kind of number 1 contenders match, though? Like, even though they're not announcing it, obviously Logan Paul's at Crown Jewel, so this would have to be, and you'd almost assume that the Bloodline's in the other War Games match at Survivor Series. So I almost feel like it doesn't make sense to make this a number 1 contenders match unless it's going to be on a SmackDown or a Raw.
Yeah.
Because your next pay-per-view where you can even defend it would be day 1. So I think that's too far out to make a number 1 contender, if you will.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean,
let me say it like this, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Bloodline technically could not have Roman in the Survivor Series match, and he could defend the belt on Survivor still. Because you could do the Usos, Sammy, and Solo Sikoa as the 4 that are in the other War Games match against.
That's true.
Name your 4, and then Roman ending that night against it. I didn't even think about that, and that could be a good way to continue the dissension between the group.
Well, I'm almost inclined to think they'll do the Sammy split before War Games, and then he'll be on the other side.
You think? It happens?
I mean, it almost it has.
So it's not going to happen at Crown Jewel because they're not going to put a belt on Logan Paul.
I feel like it writes itself, though. I mean, you've got Sammy eventually at odds with him, and then put him back in a tag team with KO. They're the ones that take the tag straps off the Usos. And at some point, I don't know if it would be before or after Survivor Series, but your Survivor Series match would be Roman, Usos, Solo against Sammy, KO.
It'd have to be a tag team of some sort.
Insert two other guys. I mean, Drew.
You'd probably want it to be a tag team. You'd probably want it to be someone.
Well, no, I'm saying your tag team of sorts would be KO and Sami Zayn.
I could see them doing Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, Johnny Gargano and Drew McIntyre. There you go. You got your four.
See, I think it makes sense to have Sami turn the War Games. So he's in there with them, and he's not really looking like he's going to, but then, Jay gets in his face just enough for him to kind of cause them to lose the match, turn on him, and then, the story writes itself all the way up into day one into WrestleMania season to where maybe it's Sami and KO for the belts. Could be Sami. They've done crazier things. Sami could win the Royal Rumble, be the guy that challenges Roman for the belt at WrestleMania. That said, I think I said it last week. I think Sami is probably in my top 3 to be the guy that beats Roman at this point in time for the belt. So at least one of them.
Real quick prediction: Drew, Cross. Who you got? I'm going Cross here.
I don't think you can have Karrion Kross lose his first big match.
I agree. It doesn't make sense too.
I think it, and again, you could have Scarlett could get involved. There's a lot of ways you can do this to protect Drew. I think it's got to be Kross.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, as of right now, those are the only 6 matches on the card. As far as our predictions go, any matches announced after this are not valid or count towards our predictions as far as who got more correct or who got more wrong or just whatever. But unfortunately, it is about that time. Cole, any final thoughts?
Guys, as always, thank you for watching the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We sincerely appreciate it. Remember to go and follow us on all of the social media streaming platforms that we have. Again, I always like to preface by saying we are no longer backed by a company. We are completely crowd-funded support. And so if you could be so kind to go check out our Patreon, and even the lowest tier helps. So check those out if you can, if you'd like. Pick one that fits your financials and what you'd like perk-wise from us. And that's a huge help. Make sure you subscribe to us on Twitch. That helps us out a ton too. And I think closer to the beginning of next year, you're going to see a lot more Twitch exclusive events from us. As far as watch parties, I know we've thrown the idea of doing a 12-hour stream again at some point out there. And highlighted news for y'all: I finally have my WWE 2K 2022 up and running, and so I am putting together the best way to do tournaments, and so those will be things that you guys can jump in on as well, and there'll be more details to come on that in the future coming weeks. So just make sure you're supporting us on those. Don't forget about the belt giveaway. Going to our Pro Wrestling Tee stores, buying shirts gets you entries into that for the next couple months. So they can be Christmas gifts, they can be white elephant gifts, because those are always fun. You never know, but
they could be your gifts.
They
gifts to yourself.
Write it on your Christmas list and tell them, tell those people, to put your name down though when they purchase it. So just make sure that you're supporting the show in every way that you can. We're really trying to get our Instagram up and going. So if you could go and give Going Broadway Podcast a like on Instagram.
It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now.
A ton, as we'll have more content coming out here in the next couple of weeks as far as past interviews, little segments, things like that. So, just make sure you're staying up to date with us on all those things. We do have guests that we're working on getting onto the show. So again, all those did help you when that time comes. But other than that, I think it's time for me to leave you with your favorite thing in the entire world.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next Monday night.